All right, it is February 17th, 11:01 a.m. and I'm going to call the Volunteer Pension Board meeting to order for the Fire District 21 Commissioner Special meeting via Zoom. The first item of business is the approval of the January 2022 minutes. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Chief, next item under that is the pension participation. Is that something that we have to do something with?
Sir, it's need to someone needs to make a motion and pass it. It's to ensure the volunteers, it's certifying that the volunteers have participated in training to receive their pension credits. If not, the district will receive a credit for the past payment.
And there's no accompanying document for that or anything? Is that just a roster that you guys are keeping?
Correct.
Okay. So we'll need a motion for the 2021 pension participation.
Motion.
Moved.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Volunteer separation. Chief?
We have a volunteer separation. Mel Mulligan is going to retire and is actually going to do the rehire system program. He's part of our tender group, and I'll mention, well, the next thing on the list is pension eligibility. He's been with the fire district, whether it's Fire District 3 or 21, for 30 years, and has just reached that point in his career where he's maxed out his retirement, but still wants to serve. And so to follow the state rules, we have to retire him, and he is eligible for volunteer rehire in 3 months.
But then receives no more pension credits.
Correct. Yeah, Board of Volunteer Firefighters maxes them at 30 years.
Okay. All right. So we need a motion to approve the volunteer separation of Mel Mulligan.
Moved.
Second.
Discussion.
No, except that's really appreciated, all the years of service, and then re-signing up for the tender group. It's really good to see.
Yeah, we certainly appreciate those people that do help us out with the Delta station and others to bring tenders. So pass along our congratulations and thanks to Mel. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. And then pension eligibility verification requires another motion.
Yes, sir, for Mr. Mel Mulligan.
All right.
And it's just, you're going to certify that he has retired so that he can start to collect benefits from his time in service.
All right.
Second.
Discussion. Again, thank him for his 30 years and continued participation and service to the district. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Anything else before the pension board, chief?
No, sir.
All right, we'll adjourn the pension board meeting and then get my screen up and running here. We have enter into the public hearing, so I'll open the public hearing at 11:05. And before we get into that, let's start with a roll call. I'm Bruce Ansel.
Rich Bossman.
Kimberly McMurray.
Jason Vanderveen.
So we have Commissioner Crawford, the school schedule got changed up for early release that wasn't planned to begin with. So he's out running school kids around this morning and is excused. And Commissioner Fisher is undergoing a medical procedure today, and so he's excused as well. So the public hearing is interesting because of the public health concerns. So obviously we're not doing this in person, and we can still have an opportunity for members to sort of raise their hand and be allowed to speak on the issue. So this public hearing is specific to the surplus and sale of the Weiser Lake Station 70, located at 633 East Weiser Lake Road in Linden. Comments from the public must be restricted to this topic only. The board will not be responding to questions or challenges, and each participant will be provided a maximum of 3 minutes to comment. If you are going to comment, you need to identify yourself, spell your name, and provide your physical address. So the public hearing is open, and Chief, you're sort of the keeper of the keys there. So if there's anyone that is interested in speaking to the board, now's the time.
Any of our guests, excuse me, any of our guests like to address the board? As Commissioner Ansel said, there's a 3-minute time limit. And you need to speak to the topic at hand, which is the resolution for surplus of the Weiser Lake Station.
No one? So we have several people I don't recognize sort of watching this today, which is nice to have people paying attention. And then we have one that's just identified or is listening by phone. Is that what I'm seeing down there on my
Yes.
screen? Okay. Were there any written requests or comments in regards to this public hearing?
We received no written communication.
Okay. And this topic was advertised to the public for how long?
It was in at least, I believe it was in 2 of the Linden Tribune public notices, as well as on our website for the past, since the last meeting.
So at least 30 days.
Yes, sir.
It's been out to the public for any comment or concerns.
And
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. And I just wanted to, that Mr. Davis, our legal counsel, did advise us that it wasn't necessary for us to do a public hearing, but we felt like this was an important enough event to bring it to the public. And we had done one previously with the sale of station, the sale of the station in Custer.
Right. Okay. All right. So hearing and seeing no public comment. Sorry, I'm kind of hindered here. I'm out of town trying to find my agenda. There's a resolution 2022-02 declaring Weiser Lake Station surplus. And can someone else maybe read that resolution since I am struggling to find all my information here?
Yes. So resolution 2022-02, resolution of the Board of Fire Commissioners of Whatcom County Fire Protection District 21 declaring as surplus the real property upon which Station 70 is located, whereas Whatcom County Fire Protection District 21 owns such real property at 633 East Weiser Lake Road, Linden, Washington 98264. whereas a fire station is located on the property, whereas RCW 52.12.021 allows the district to sell the real property, whereas on February 17th, 2022, the Board of Fire Commissioners held a public hearing via Zoom with regard to the determination of whether to surplus the property and sell the property, and whereas the district provided notice of the public hearing and special meeting, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Fire Commissioners as follows. 1, the property is found and declared to be surplus to the needs of the district. 2, the fire chief is authorized to arrange for the sale or trade of the property in any commercially reasonable way, which may include the sale of the property by auction, private sale, sealed bid, or through listing with a broker or agent, including the trade of the property for similarly situated property of value to the district. 3, any sale or property trade agreement must be approved by the Board of Fire Commissioners prior to execution by the fire chief. Passed and approved by the Board of Fire Commissioners of Washington County Fire Protection District 21 at an open public meeting thereof this 17th day of February 2022, of which notice was given in a manner provided by law, the following commissioners being present and voting. Then it's got your names listed beneath that.
Right. So is there a motion to approve resolution 2022-2? That would be, so Commissioner McMurray has moved, and I'm sorry, what?
I needed to unmute. I'll second.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded, and I think it would be appropriate for some discussion here. So I know that Commissioner Crawford was at our last meeting, and he actually seconded the motion to move forward on this. And so in his absence, initially I felt like, you know, this is a huge issue in my mind, because it really impacts our service area. And so I don't take this decision or vote lightly, and I wanted to make sure everyone had input. And so knowing that Commissioner Crawford was on board, I'm feeling a little more comfortable with moving forward today and not delaying this process one way or the other. And Commissioner Fisher has been absent for medical reasons for a couple of meetings, and I have spoken with him at his home, and I haven't heard any objections on this topic from him either. So in their absence, I'm going to say that they are not opposed if we decide to surplus this. So I would like to hear from both Rich and Kimberly, and then I have a few more comments, believe it or not. Rich, where are you at?
Well, we discussed this at the last meeting. I think that the general consensus was to move forward. It's unfortunate we haven't got any comments on this at all. But the fact that we haven't, I don't see any resistance. And based on the financial situation of the district at this time, I think it makes good sense. Because if we're not using that station and we don't anticipate using it, that we surplus it. So it's kind of a recap of our last meetings.
Sure.
Statements on it.
Kimberly?
I agree with what both of you said. I don't take it lightly either. But given our financial situation, it is a good decision, and it hasn't been in use for quite some time. So to give it a good home for somebody else would be a good thing as well for our community.
All right. So in 2020, we had a master plan review by Emergency Services Consulting International, and they sort of looked at our whole district and our facilities, and this is what they had to say about Weiser Lake Station. It was found to be in fair to good condition. It does not have facilities for 24-hour staffing, including sleeping quarters, laundry, or bunker gear extraction. The facility does not have an exhaust system for apparatus. Currently, this facility provides limited service to the district. It was built in, looks like 1994. I have driven out there. It's in a residential area. It doesn't have a lot of great road access. It's, I believe, covered within our 5-minute response time from other facilities. Is that true, Chief?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then I thought, well, I wonder what the people in the neighborhood think. Hence, we went out for a public hearing and public input and got none. But when I pulled the precinct data from the last 2 levy lid-lip votes, the residents around that station, so it's precinct 144 and 145, voted 76% no for the levy lid lift in August and 71% in November. And if you combine the numbers totally, it's an overall 73% no. So I didn't really expect that there'd be any objection from the public because they weren't willing to help us financially. And so this is a way for us to help us financially and get rid of a station that really isn't being used. So Chief, can you maybe enlighten us? I mean, you're the guy that runs the operations here. Where do you stand in looking at this?
I agree with what the ESCI report says. It's extra. We have not used that station for anything except for storage of items for the past 10 to 12 years. There's not been a robust volunteer response out of there. I haven't seen anything, during my entire time with North Whatcom, there's never been an overwhelming response out of there. It's just not it's not worth spending the money on the station anymore. It doesn't, with the auto aid agreements we have with the city of Linden, with our, staffing at Station 69 down in Laurel, we're covering that area. It's just a kind of it's a boat. It's a money pit.
Okay. There is a hand raised. We're in the middle of a resolution, and so there's procedurally not an opportunity for anyone else to add comments at this point in our discussions. So it's been moved and seconded to surplus this. Chief, if we do move forward with this, do you have a plan or thought for how that money would be used?
Yes, to purchase 2 tenders. Our tender fleet is beyond its service life, and we are facing a WSRB re-rate this year, which I fear is going to potentially dramatically impact the insurance rates for residents property owners in the district. And a big part of that is going to be the age of our apparatus, and our tender fleet, which serves our rural areas, desperately needs to be updated. We're responding on tenders that are 30+ years old, and so the revenue from this would go to purchase two new tenders.
Okay, so if I go back to the ESCI plan, when they evaluated our tenders 2 years ago, the average age was 25 years. And the condition 88% was rated as fair or poor. So and only 13% was good, none was excellent. So our tender fleet is really in bad shape, as you alluded to. And in 2021, the maintenance costs for the tenders alone was $23,500. In 2020, it was $11,700. So we're spending a lot of money on equipment that is old, and in some cases, my understanding is that they don't even make parts for these things anymore.
Correct.
We're like looking on eBay for parts to repair our apparatus, and that's just not right. So, all right. So with all that said, we have the resolution before us. It's been moved and seconded. Does anyone else have any comment from the board? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So it's unanimous, and I know that we had last meeting verbal support from Commissioner Crawford as well. All right. I'm not sure if I closed the public hearing, but having had no other comments during that public hearing, just for the record, it should have been closed before the resolution discussion. All right, it's 11:22. Open the regular Board of Commissioner meeting with the approval of the consent agenda. And on that are the meeting minutes from January 20th, the staff reports, the financial reports, the vouchers, and I will read the numbers in further. January, the total revenue was $97,451.06. The total expenditures for February are $775,985.98. North Whatcom employees direct deposit payroll was $347,912.96. Payroll taxes, $74,515.31. Benefits voucher, $204,193.38. Monthly expenditure vouchers, $144,660. There was another expenditure vouchers of $2,673.92, and capital projects apparatus, $2,089.81. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Chief, is there anything in your reports or anything that you want to go over at this point before we approve this?
Just to let you know, the new training captain started on Tuesday, Mike Finley. I'll have him at the meeting in March. He's still getting things organized. He's actually out meeting with a couple of the crews right now. We're very excited to have him on board, and yeah, just looking forward to good things. I don't know if you want to make this the meeting we had with Commissioner Cooley from District 4 part of your. You want to?
We'll talk about that during
okay.
Commissioner meetings.
And then just the only other piece is just that I'm sure you could tell, but the district was hit kind of hard by COVID in January. Everybody's back to work. Everybody's feeling 100%, and it's good to have everybody back. And I'm glad that we did not have any lasting, anybody get exceptionally sick, and families are doing, spouses and kids are doing well too. So luckily we had a rough patch, but everybody seems to be on the mend.
It's good to hear. All right. Anyone else? Rich or Kimberly? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you. Commissioner meeting reports. Rich or Kimberly, did you have anything?
I did not.
The Blaine City Council had a meeting on the 14th, but there wasn't anything on their agenda that pertained to us. And the next meeting is February 28th, and I'll get the agenda the Friday before.
Good. Well, thank you for keeping an eye on that. I attended two meetings. One was with Commissioner Cooley from District 4 and the fire chief. That was just an opportunity for the two of us to actually meet each other in person, and talk about where we're headed with talks coming up in the near future, I hope. They're committed to engaging in discussions for future service, knowing that financially they will not be capable of providing the existing level of service after the end of this year, unless there's some sort of increase in their levy or some change in their contractual agreement. So, Chief, do you want to weigh in here on the other sort of direction that we hope to be heading with Karen Reed, and have we made contact with her?
Yes, actually, not so much. Well, yes, I made contact with Karen Reed, but more importantly, I've had a meeting this week and had another follow up with Bill Cushman, who's the financial planning, helping me with financial planning, and we're building models for District 4, District 21. What would be the minimum levy rate, basically, or building a model that that I can bring for you. I'll do the presentations about what levy rate would be acceptable for us to minimally pay our bills, as well as working with the District 4 model. We'll be able to show the expected increase in payments to District 21 should they keep contracting, and what their revenue would need to be as that goes on. We've got a rough draft. We're going to meet again tomorrow and finalize things. But it would just give us basically a tool so that we can manipulate the bare bones levy rate and allow us to do some further planning. Once that's done, Karen Reed and I will get back together and we'll get the group of 4 together, possibly next week, depending on people's availability, and start planning in earnest.
So, yeah, we've committed to District 4 to sort of meet in a smaller group, where before we had all of us trying to coordinate schedules and move down that path, and thought that because time is of the essence here, that we would streamline that and have a representative from each district, myself from 21, and Commissioner Cooley from District 4, the chief, and Karen Reed, and just sort of hammer out some of the basic stuff, and then we would each bring that back to our boards for discussion and direction and approval. And then if there's a point where we think we're moving in a good direction and need to include all members of the boards, then we would do that. The sticking point now for District 4 is if we're going to enter into formal RFA discussions, we have to have 3 members from their board, and at this point they have 2. So I believe that it's been put out for notification for interest from people, and I'm not sure if they've gotten any response on that, but I know that Commissioner Cooley knows that it's an important topic, and they need to fill that position if they truly want to re-engage in the RFA discussions. Is that?
Yep, that's
okay. And then other meeting was with Margot Seville. She's again a citizen that has got some, I guess, public marketing experience in both in Canada and the US nationally, kind of reviewing messaging and how it's received and how to improve that messaging. She has come up with a work plan, some ideas, and we're continuing to work with her for how do we get our message out to the public in a way that they may better understand and hopefully support our funding issues. And so we will continue to meet with her. She's volunteering her time. It's limited, but is way more than anyone else we have working on this particular topic. So we appreciate everything she's done for us so far, and we'll continue to work with her to improve our messaging. I was waiting to see how the library issue rolled out, and it looks like that failed to get the 60% authorization, even though it had, I think, 57% passage. It didn't reach the 60% threshold that was required. So it's tough to get anything passed at 60%. So if we have a proposal going forward, I think we need to stick with something that will get us at a 50+1 vote threshold, because I don't know that we can get 60% on anything right now, regardless of how we market it. But that's just my personal opinion. So anyway, all right.
I have one more thing.
Yes.
That community risk reduction workshop, if I'm willing to go attend that, if you think it's something valuable to our district.
Enlighten me on that one.
We just got an email. There's a all-day workshop in SeaTac on March 8th. It came from, just a sec, let me go back. Sorry, I thought I'd written this down.
That's all right.
From the Chief Deputy State Fire Marshal and the Washington State Patrol.
And what were they going to cover?
The topics are: what is community risk reduction? Why is community risk reduction important? Community risk reduction is not a new concept, and is your department on board? It's a free workshop from 8 to 4 in SeaTac on the 8th.
Is that an in-person thing, or can it be done via Zoom?
It's in person.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I don't have any opposition to it, Chief. If you have any insight into that as to how it may impact the fire service, is this a police issue or a fire issue?
No, it's a growing issue in the fire service. It's about a prevention model versus a reactive model, and it's a new buzzword. It's certainly something that I wouldn't mind having Commissioner McMurray go to and find out about. It's more to implement correctly, it takes more of a prevention division, but it would certainly be nice to know what things, maybe they'll discuss some of the things we could do for WSRB in the future, and some of those kind of simpler programs that a small fire department like ours could undertake.
Okay. Well, great, Kimberly. If you want to go do that, I certainly don't have any objection to it, and appreciate you bringing it to our attention. So, legal issues, Chief, anything? I haven't seen anything from Mr. Davis.
Nothing from Mr. Davis.
All right. Local 106, Mr. Brown.
Hello, thanks for having me. A couple things. First First off, we had two members, David Hancock and David Comp, pass all their paramedic stuff. So they are now officially at Bellingham. So just wanted to congratulate them. They put a lot of work in. They will be missed, but hopefully we'll see them on calls and trainings and whatnot, but very happy for them. As Chief mentioned, we hired a new training captain, got to meet with him yesterday. Excited to work with him and see what he'll bring to the department. Seems like a really good guy. Appreciate his time yesterday and look forward again to working with him. Had our unit meeting a week and a half ago. A couple MOUs, one to extend the Battalion 76, acting Battalion 76. So that got approved. Voted on the vaccine mandate MOU, that got denied. We are getting ready also to send a letter of intent to negotiate the contract here in the next about month and a half. So just giving you a heads up on that. And at this time, that's all I have, unless there's any questions.
None here. And I just, for your information, I had a discussion with Kenneth Cunningham regarding the MOU that was rejected. I offered him some of my thoughts. I have talked with our legal counsel, and we will be readdressing that issue in executive session at this meeting.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
Unfinished business. District 4, Chief, we were kind of, I think, covered most of that.
Yes, sir. I think we kind of covered that. Working on financial models for 4 and 21, and yeah, stay tuned for future information.
Right, and I was very encouraged by our discussion with Commissioner Cooley, his understanding of the timeline that they're under, and his ability and schedule to be open enough to maybe take on some of the business that Commissioner Land wouldn't be able to do. And so I was really encouraged by that meeting, and hope that we can accomplish a lot in a little bit of time.
We have to.
Yeah, well,
We don't really have a choice.
right. Their situation is a lot more dire than ours, but we're both like on the ragged edge here, hence why we're surplusing equipment to just try to keep the lights on. So
Yep.
Future funding options, you've already sort of covered that too, and have some reporting coming back to us as it is generated. Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, actually this morning I've been reviewing a thrilling document from FEMA on, nationwide, kind of a nationwide report of alternative funding sources for fire districts and EMS districts. And yeah, it's just more trying to do more research and figure out what are other places doing. There's been some interesting position papers written as part of EFO projects from the National Fire Academy about specifically Washington and California. California sounds like has a similar to Initiative 747, which limits, municipal revenue increases, tax increases, and how other departments, both large and small, are dealing with it. One thing that stuck out to me is in two of these position papers I've read, they've cited that research shows, and I don't know where the research came from, but that the highest performing, best fire departments, 83% plus of them use alternative funding resources in addition to tax revenue. I'm trying to dig through and figure out what it's an easy statement and it sounds great, but what does that mean?
I would imagine fee for service is in there.
where does that come from? And yeah, what's the definition of alternative funding resource, sources? And so
probably not bake sales.
no, not big sales.
Not anymore.
No.
no. If, yeah. Not sure we have any multi-billionaires living in our district that would like to make a contribution to our operation, but, yeah, we're kind of like trying to turn over every stone, right? All right, facilities and maintenance, is that something that Chief Ward wants to or needs to update us on? Or where are we?
He's there. Let's see if he's,
To wake him up.
yep. I do know he's been very busy with getting Station 70 fixed up to look pretty for a potential sale, as well as we had reported previously that we had some freezing damage, sprinkler damage out at Station 61 and some old damage at 62. Correct, 62 at Semiahmoo. I know he's meeting today with oh, here he comes.
My apologies.
That's right. He's meeting with a
Dealing with
contractor
problems.
today. Yep. I figured you were on the bat phone. So
Yeah. So, flooding kind of got us, the freeze that we had this winter kind of got us a little more than what we had anticipated. Station 61 suffered some sprinkler head freezing in the north side of the bay where the bunker gear is stored, and we're going to address that permanently. And that's one of the reasons why I've got a contractor coming out to bid on that. Station 63 suffered some pretty good, extensive damage to the dry system in the tower. And we kind of looked at that and scratched our head and went, why do we have a dry system in a tower that doesn't have anything flammable in it? Nobody could really give us an answer. I got a variance through the county to disconnect that portion of it, just because the cost would be unimaginable to fix it. And so we disconnected the dry system portion only to Station 63. The rest of the sprinkler system is fully functional and no damage. Station 62, I'm hoping again with the contractor I'm meeting with today to meet with him out there as well and have him give us a bid on the final cleanup and repair from the previous flooding damage that we received out there. Other than that, it's fixing.
yeah, the HVAC upgrade at Station 63 is in its final phases.
Yes, they were finishing up wiring this week. And so my hope is that by week's end, they are running with their new system and we can shut the old system down.
And how are we doing on our phone system research?
Phone system, we decided to move ahead with Intermedia, which is a company that we've got good feedback from other customers on that are using it. Oasis Tech is also becoming a vendor for them. So when it comes to technical support, immediate technical support or long-term technical support, they'll be able to help us out where we don't have that with any other vendor. It's now in the process of just steps. We've got, they've shipped us the phones. We've got all the phones. We're getting the base set up as far as the computer program itself. And then we'll start the transition slowly. What we're not going to do is shut off the lines from Pogo Zone and then flip a switch to Intermedia. We want to make sure that we kind of have both switches on and we make sure that all the phones are working with Intermedia's system before we do the final shutdown of the system at 69.
All right, it'd be nice to have something that meets today's technological specifications.
Just
Very
for
much so.
Commissioner Bossman and McMurray, our phone system is ancient, pre 2005, and we were kind of on our last legs with support. We had one company left that was able to support our system and they closed up shop and retired on December 31st, really with no notice, including to their employees, apparently. So we've been kind of dealing with intermittent outages, and Chief Ward and Jenny have really been kind of patching it to make it work. Sometimes we have voicemail, sometimes we don't. Sometimes the phone rings, sometimes they don't, and it's not acceptable for emergency response agency to not have a landline so that we can be contacted by the public.
All right, thank you for that report. And let's hope we don't have to order any more chewing gum and duct tape to keep this going. All right, anything else under unfinished business from anyone? We'll move on to new business. We have a contract for the Division Chief of Support Services, since we have offered the position to Chief Ward after a long period of apprenticeship and demonstrating he's more than capable of managing that workload. So I think we just, you had it in your packet to review. Anything in there, Chief? I looked at it and we made some corrections and updates to it that were added in there. Any comments on that?
No, sir. It's very similar to mine, and so it should be simple for the district to need to do any maintenance to it. I would just ask that he's been doing the work he's been in the job since January. I'd ask for your support in passing it.
All right. All right. So is there a motion to approve the contract for the Division Chief of Support Services?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion? Nice to have you in the position and
Yeah.
doing such a wonderful job.
Mhm.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thanks, Chief. Thanks, Chief Ward. Human resource job description. That has been a topic that we have been working to get completed. I think that you guys did an amazing job on that. After reading it, I can't even imagine having to work in that position. It's an amazing amount of responsibility, and I know that we have a very capable person in there currently, and hope that that continues for a long, long time. So is there a motion to approve the human resource manager job description?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Chief, go ahead. Go ahead, Rich. None?
I just
Okay.
agree with your comments. I think it's, I'd hate to put this out and try to advertise for the position. I think we're very fortunate.
Yeah.
I agree.
Chief, it looks like we've adopted a new format, and it looks really clean and it was easy to read. And so I'm assuming that we'll continue to maybe modify other job descriptions to follow that format.
Yes, sir. No more dots and zeros.
Excellent. All right. All in favor of the job description for human resource manager?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you, Chief and staff, for getting that to us.
Just to give further kudos, myself and Jenny and Kelly sat down and wrote that. And when we sent it to Rich Davis, he had no suggestions when he sent it back. So
That's very unusual.
yeah,
He didn't charge us anything then, did he?
Excellent. Good job. Great job. When I read it, I mean, it just read so good. It was very nicely done. All right. Correspondence been in our packet. Anything in that regard, Chief, that we need to?
Nothing additional, no.
Okay. The board meeting for March is on the 17th. I will probably still be out of town, but available via Zoom. And it's St. Patty's Day. Wow. So is everyone else okay with that?
I'm
At this
okay.
point? I'm assuming I'm assuming, I think, I can't remember. I know I got an email from John. I think he's going to be back on normal schedule, but the way the schools have been bumping around, you never know. And I'm really anticipating, I had a discussion with Commissioner Fisher. He was ready to come back for this meeting today, but then got scheduled for a procedure that came up. So he's sounding good and looking forward to getting back to our meetings. Agenda items for next meeting. Kimberly, if you're gonna go to that conference, when was that again?
March 8th.
Okay, you can maybe give us a nice report from that.
Yes.
I guess we leave D4 and future funding on the agenda in case we have some meetings and need to update that. Anything else I'm missing here?
Maybe the Station 70, or we
Oh.
can just include that under facilities and maintenance.
No, let's keep that on a,
Definitely.
let's keep it on its own topic.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that with that, we'll move forward with Mr. Kent and figure out what's the best way to deal with that property now.
Yes.
Okay.
I will, I'll follow up with him.
All right. We need to have an executive session. Chief, did you get a draft copy from Mr. Davis on this? I talked to him. I was was on the road driving south to Arizona when I spoke to him on the phone.
I did not know.
Okay. He was going to tweak this MOU to reflect the discussion that I had with Local 106 President Kenneth Cunningham. So I can update the board as to what those changes are, and when we get that document, we can forward it to the local for their approval or rejection. So the executive session is per RCW 42.30.140 subsection 4A, collective bargaining sessions with employee organizations, including contract negotiations, grievance meetings, and discussions relating to the interpretation or application of a labor agreement, or that portion of a meeting during which the governing body is planning or adopting a strategy or position to be taken by the governing body during the course of any collective bargaining, professional negotiations, or grievance or mediation proceedings, or reviewing the proposals made in the negotiations or proceedings while in progress. I think we can manage this in a short period of time, so I'm going to say let's break to executive session for 10 minutes. It's 11:55 now.
Yep.
So if you want to, and if we can have yourself, Chief, and the three of us commissioners in executive session.
Okay. I'm going to take us off YouTube here. Scott, you want to step out?